All right, all right, all right. How are we doing on this fine Friday morning? It's going to be 50 degrees today. It's going to be 50 degrees next weekend. We're supposed to have some days in the 60s. I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to float on the kayak through the river out into the bay and never to be seen again. So, last night in the NHL, we helped ourselves. We didn't get a whole hell of a lot of help. Hurricanes beat the Lightning 5-4. The Penguins had no problem without Crosby against the Devils 4-1. We know what we did. The Bruins beat the Jackets 4-2. At least it wasn't overtime, like the Wings beating the Sens 2-1 in overtime, and the Islanders beating the Canadiens 4-3 in overtime. So those results were basically the worst possible combination of results. Blues beat the Kraken. Preds beat the Blackhawks. Flyers beat the Rangers in overtime. Wild beat the Avalanche. Flames 4, Sharks 1. Not a good start for them. And the Oilers decided to play like they mean it. 8-1 against the Kings. So where that puts us is no better off, no worse off. And this is the problem with being so far behind. You can win your games, but if the other teams don't cooperate, then you have an issue. So we're still 8 points behind the Bruins, and we are 9 points behind the Sabres, who we play tonight. So we could creep up a point tonight. Does Boston play again tonight? No. There's only 4 games tonight, and we are the only Eastern Conference matchup. The Golden Knights play the Capitals, so we have a chance to move up in the standings a little bit tonight, but it will just give other teams a game in hand against us as well. Okay. How we doing, Mike? 50% chance to make the playoffs yesterday, 24% today. Huh. Percentages are wild, aren't they? Hey, Colin. No updates yet, but you're pretty sure, yeah, it should be Tarasov, right? Right. Hey, Simon. David, good to see you. Kachucking around says, good win against a bad team, but we got to beat some real teams now. We're also looking kind of bad trying to park the bus, but it's a start. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I kind of feel like we got off to that lead, and they know that since they had to play tomorrow night or tonight, right? And that, let me fix this. Hopefully my internet is okay now. I just realized we're having a problem here. Having to play back to back, we've got 5 back to backs. So there we go. Okay, we should start clearing up now. Hey, Simon. What's my surprising team in the West? Boy, I don't have a good answer for you there right now, Simon. Let's give it another week or so. Can the Mammoth hold out? Right? Mammoth, Kraken, are the Kings going to make it? The Sharks look like they're flaming out. Doesn't look like that's going to happen for them. Same thing with the Blackhawks and maybe the Preds. Like there's a couple of teams that, could get in, but I don't see anybody really challenging the top teams there. Hungry says, crazy to see some of the biggest Leaf accounts actually praising the Cats for honoring Matthews and Chucky last night. I didn't see that. I saw the obviously the pregame, but I didn't see the Leaf accounts praising us for that. Interesting. Shine says, I enjoy beating Toronto, but that probably gave us just enough confidence to miss the playoffs by like 2 points or something stupid. Hey, Miami Sports. Oh, 82 and sunny sounds nice. Yeah. Yeah, we should be good, right? No, it should be good. I'm on the Ethernet. I'm doing the same thing I did last night. Let me know if it's still a problem. No, I didn't have my Ethernet port plugged in all the way, but it should be good now. If it's not good, it doesn't make any sense because it didn't have any problems last night during the game. Let me know if we're okay now. Yeah, I become shy these days. I hide my face. It's very true. It's very true. Still looking. I don't understand. This has got to be the laptop. I don't understand why this is happening during the noon stream, but not the game stream when it's the same. It's the same equipment. And now it's gone back. All right, bear with me here. I see what's happening here. Bear with me here. It's not my service provider. This is definitely not my service provider. I've got what do you call it? Fiber. So let me jump over here and see what the hell's going on. We haven't had any problems. Like, this is definitely something. It's the same laptop that we used last night. Yeah, it's just I don't understand what the hell is going on. This should not be. Let me see something. There's nothing going on with the laptop that should be giving me this problem. CPU's fine, memory's fine, everything's fine. There's nothing running that should be giving me this problem. And I've completely frozen up. This is crazy. This should not. All right. I'm going to I'm going to restart this and just bear with me. I'll be right back. All right, let me know how it looks now. If it's still bad, I'm gonna have to take the laptop and go downstairs. And I wonder if this Ethernet cord has gone bad because we use a different one downstairs. So I'm fine now. So I'm fine now. That's what you're saying, Hungry? Oh, geez, you hear that? That's the fan to my laptop. That's not good. I think my equipment's crapping out. Can you guys? Is my mic picking that up? That's the laptop going. Not great, but better. I think it's the laptop taking a crap because that noise you hear is my fan. Yeah, I mean it's all right. Okay, that's nice. It looks good. Yeah. Is the mic picking up that noise? Yeah, because I restarted this. Oh boy, I'm having a good time. I restarted the computer, so everything that is in the startup menu is going to town starting up. So I think we should be clear now. I mean, I love it when Windows does the updates and just like completely changes my startup menu, and I constantly have to go in and manipulate it. I love it. All right, let's try to get back to hockey, right? Great White says, please don't adjust your TV. You're in the Jaws zone. Yeah, right? Andre says, depending on the laptop, the fan noise might be normal. Mine sounds like an 18-wheeler whenever I render a video, and it's a top shelf laptop. This started a couple days ago. It did it to me last night too when I was producing the recap, when I was producing the file. It got really, really loud like that. I probably need to take it in and get either the fans replaced or just cleaned, or I could just buy one of those kits to take it apart and clean it. But if the picture's good, the picture's good. Kenny says, every once in a while, yeah, you nuke the startup menu. Yeah. Every once in a while, you go in and there's programs you like never used in your life, like the Omen Gaming Hub, and there's a couple of other things that just open up and run in the background that I constantly tell it not to do it, and then when Windows updates, it does it again. Vinci says, I'm so happy to still keep my PC on Windows 10. My computers downstairs that we do the eBay work on, those are Windows 10. But obviously the new stuff's 11. So Miami Sports says Evander Kane is an option for Tampa Bay, Dallas, and Carolina. Yeah, I would suspect that Tampa's gonna load up, right? I would expect them to load up. Honky says, sad to see Sens fans cheering for Brady getting hit high because of the Olympics. It was that whole thing. God, I don't want to get on a whole rant about that because I'll end up passing out. I hope he comes to Florida. That's what I'll say about Brady. I hope they chase him out of town and he wants to come play hockey with his brother. Vincent. Yeah, last night was fun. The first period was fun. The first period was definitely fun. And then we sat on our ass the rest of the game. And hey, here's a question. I didn't think about this. How much did that help Bubba's save percentage? Let's see. It was 871, and it's now 874. Okay. So if he does that for the next 25 games, he can finish with about a 925. Good enough. He looked pretty good last night. Craig says that's how Brady says if this place, yeah, and goes to Florida, right? Is it true that if you close unused apps, your computer runs faster? It takes less memory. Yeah. It makes it doesn't have to work as hard, especially on these Windows 11 things where the fans are a problem. And so I've had to disable a lot of programs that don't need to run in the background anyway. Miami Sports says, do I think the Brady trade this summer or next summer? So I kind of was thinking the following one, right? Because I believe if we looked at this before, his contract runs through 27-28. So this is 25-26. The next year is 26-27. So I kind of figured he'd play one more full year in Ottawa. And if they don't win and he goes into the following season, 27-28, without an extension, without a contract, I would suspect and hope that if he wanted out, if he wants out, he's going to come here, right? So I don't know. It could be this offseason. I'd love to see it. We'd have money if we, it wouldn't take much for us to have the money to do that. Dave says, yeah, if they believe Brady is leaving, they'll trade him to get a return right. Absolutely. So Kazuma wants to know, why wasn't Maurice chosen to be the Team Canada coach? It's possible that he didn't want to. I don't know. I don't know how they pick the Olympic coaches, to be honest with you. Appreciate that, Simon. So, any predictions tonight on the game versus the Sabres? Absolutely, absolutely must win. This is a bigger game than last night. Got to win this game 5-2. Give Tarasov some goal support. Damn it. Merritt, use a task manager. Yeah, that's what I was doing. When you heard the fan noise, that's what I do. Is whenever you hear me say, "Hold on, let me check on something," that's what I do. Is open up task manager and I just start shutting shit down. It's wild, the stuff that runs in the background that you don't need. But we seem to be okay right now, so hopefully everything's fine. Hey, JC. What do I think the deal for Brady would be? It's a really, really good question. You got to figure for a young guy. It also depends on when, right? But as an example, if Zito was going to go to Ottawa this year and try to get Brady in, you're going to be looking at one of either Samoskevich or Vilmanis as a start. One, and then we're going to have to send like at least a guy that you would consider. Like, I don't think Rodriguez, Samoskevich in the first would get it done. Like, you're going to have to clear some cap space of Rahagi. That's really about it. You don't want to weaken things too much. I don't know how we would pry him out of Ottawa without giving up one of a prime player. They may not want for Haiti. You know what I mean? So I just don't know if we would have the assets. I think the only way it would end up happening is if Brady kind of pulled what his brother did and be like, I'm not re-signing. Trade me to Florida. Get what you can. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the only way it would really happen is if Brady forced it, kinda ish. Otherwise, if we're competing against what other teams would be able to give, I'm pretty sure we'd get outbid. Does he have? He's currently under a full no movement clause. So does that change at all? I doubt it. Excuse me. Let's see here. No, it doesn't look like no movement clause in years 5, 6, and 7. No. So he has full control. So if Brady says, I want out, you send me to Florida, and that's the only place I'll waive for, then I feel like that's the way it would have to happen. Kachukin says, if we tank, then we can trade the top 10 protected pick for him. Yes, that's possible, right? David says, LOL, Brady has a wife and 2 or 3 kids. He goes where his wife tells him, but if you're rich, Fort Lauderdale has some great schools. Oh, yeah, Vincent says, I read a funny article of it today about Tippett being offered to the Panthers. How's he doing this year, by the way? Like, I know the Flyers suck, but is he getting another 20 goals this year? Like, he is like the quietest 20-goal scorer I ever seen. Yeah, he's got 19 goals and 17 assists. Like, he's had 27, 28, 20. And this is going to be 4 straight years of 20 goals or more for Tippett. Like, obviously he has his deficiencies. He's not much of a assist guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody wanted to pick him up. But he just scores 20, 25 goals a year and nobody even, you know what I mean, even talks about him. Now, why he'd be offered to the Panthers? I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad 4th line addition, I suppose, but I kind of like what we already have. David says, if we come out and spank the Sabres, then I will start to feel really good about our chances. I'll agree there. Yeah. Hey, Kenneth, Buffalo and Boston already won out of the break. I know. Yeah, and with the overtime games last night, that was rough too. How many points did the Kings finish with the year that they missed the playoffs? That's a good question. 95 points. 95 points. That's it. And that's probably, they were 40, 27, and 15, which that sounds kind of eerily similar to where we're probably going to end up with, except, points wise, not the overtime 15. Good God. Hungry says someone was floating the idea of tanking, taking the top 10 pick and trading it for Brady. Yeah, we talked about that here a few days ago. Miami says Lundell or Luosterainen. I don't know. I mean, in terms of what would get it done, I believe those players would get it done. Yeah. The Luosterainen one, yeah, David says E2 is never leaving. And this is where you get into the pros and cons. Honestly, if you wanted to look at a player that you could trade, maybe you look at the defensive end of things. You know what I mean? If you want to maybe Jones. Not that Ottawa's going to do it, though. You know what I mean? I mean, they're going to want good young players. But because Luosterainen's going to need a deal here soon, too, as well. So it says Mackey. I just don't think Mackey would be enough. Mackey in a first is not going to get you Brady Tkachuk. And I don't even think Mackey Rodriguez in a first. I don't think it's enough. I don't know. Tkachuk says they would probably push for Lundell, but that ain't happening. Exactly. Right. Yeah, Tippett doesn't really fit the system. Miami Sports, if you want Tkachuk, you have to trade a player like Lundell or Luosterainen. You're probably right. Hey, Simon. Well, in terms of the weekend, bud, I'm going to rest. I'll be here tomorrow at noon. We got today. We got tomorrow. And then, we got Sunday. We got the hockey game. But other than that, that's all I've really been doing is resting. My plan was to go to the gym and the grocery store today, and I only made it to the grocery store because I was getting too lightheaded. So not quite where I need to be yet to be doing much of anything, unfortunately. David, I saw that about the Finns finishing first in player happiness, right? Yeah, coddling isn't the way to winning a football team. Exactly. Completely agree, David. So it says, heck no, if we get that top 10 pick, we're drafting the Latvian defense and Balinskis Vilnius. I don't think we're going to get that pick, though. They didn't look like they was fixing to quit yesterday, right? Yeah, I agree with you, Craig, right? Kachukin says Brady can completely screw Ottawa over and force it to happen. Agree. Hungry says we can do them like we did the Bruins. You get a conditional first, take it or leave it, or convince Swaggy to move his no move. Hey, Spaceman. I saw his recap. Yeah, I think it was I missed the last 2 minutes of it. Something happened where I had to stop watching it, but I did see it. David says I'll look a little bit better today. I mean, like 3 to 4, but still better. Yeah. I'm at the point where I mentally I feel fine. Like today, I was like, okay, it's good. I'm gonna feel better. I gotta go to the gym, do my stuff, and then I get out there moving around, and just my oxygen level just drops. So I did what I needed to do and came home. Silva says, yeah, Bennett with Tkachuk and Tkachuk. I would be a beautiful thing. Which, by the way, like I said last night in the recap, when that's 2 goals now for Sam Miskevich that he scored that have been called back with offsides. The kid is he just can't catch a break. The Leaf players, the whole defense falls down all over themselves. Bennett makes the pass. Oh, that's not good. Excuse me. Hold on a second. I smell something burning and they got the house fan on. Hold on. All right. Oh. Okay. Jeez. No, the stupid oven. I gotta get a new oven. I don't. You guys know the story. It has an error message. It has an error. It has a glitch where it will run for 6 to 7 months just fine, and then just randomly just start burning everything and overheating. And it started doing it yesterday. Kyle put his breakfast in, or I guess his lunch, and so now the house is full of smoke, and he's got the house fan on. So it's nice. It's really good stuff. Can't imagine why I can't imagine why my heart is giving out on me. Lions in net tonight. That's very cool. We'll get the Alex Lyon sign out. David, how you doing, SPH? So we'll be all right. Okay. Your eye feels good today. Stress to the team. I kind of felt like the team yesterday. Like the first period was full of energy. Everything was good. I wasn't pleased with. I mean, I know that we backed off because we had a lead and conserving energy and all of that. But geez, it was a shooting gallery. We gave up a lot of shots yesterday. Someone says, if we lose tonight, do you think we'll start tanking? I don't know. Where's our schedule? It depends. Like if we lose in regulation, it's tough. If you lose but you in overtime, you get a point, you could maybe convince yourself. I don't think they'll tank even if they lose today, because after that you've got the Islanders and then you've got the Devils. And I know the Islanders are in a playoff position, but Jesus, that should be a game that we win. Like, what are we talking about here if we can't beat those teams? And the same thing really goes with the Sabres. Like, if we get to a point where we have everybody but Barkov back and we can't win these games, you had to just pack it in, right? Kenneth says, Panthers right now are sitting in the 14th pick slot. Is the plan to go up or down? You got to choose soon. I mean, they said when they interviewed Bill, and Maurice kind of said the same thing. He's like, we don't have 25 games left. We got 1 game left 25 times. And it really is the cliche of 1 game at a time. And that's how everything's going to get decided in terms of whether or not we feel like it's realistic for us to make a playoff push. Basically, the way I'm looking at it is like they're in playoff mode now. They pretty much are in playoff mode right now. And so if we can't beat the Sabres and the Islanders and the Devils, and if we can't beat these teams when we're in playoff mode now, then we don't need to be making the playoffs, because whatever gear we're going to kick on is pretty much, where we need to be already. Right. And not to mention, we need other teams to start losing. So SPH says, I can't put us coming back if they don't, just rest for the next year. If not, we'll get another year of injuries. So the thing of it is that, when I look at the injuries, I am trying to be a little bit more objective about it. Now, the Barkov thing had to be wear and tear. Like, there had to be something there already. Now, and the Tkachuk thing, we already knew that he had got hurt at Four Nations, right? But Kulikov was kind of a freak thing, right? Jones was a freak thing. The bigger issue has been the Bennetts and the Martians and the Reinhardts and some extent to the Verhaeghe, who are just don't have the level of energy that we're used to them seeing, the exhaustion. And then that ends up, leading to injuries. Now, Marchand's gotten through something right now, but you can tell, you could see it last night. He came in all alone, and instead of really being able to cut it, speed up and cut towards the net like he normally does, he kind of had to slow down a little bit, didn't have the edge to take the angle that he would want. And then the play just ended up disintegrating a little bit. And you could kind of see, I noticed a couple of times too, because you guys know I'll watch away from the puck on purpose. Multiple times I was seeing, and I'm not saying this to disparage Marchand, but he's definitely hurt. I saw him doing what Yager used to do. If you remember when Yager was with us, and you would see Huberdeau and Barkov flying into the zone, and then if you look back, there was Yager just kind of like waiting back there, like, oh, let them take care of it. I'm too old for this shit. I saw Marchand doing that a few times last night, where normally he might have been gunning it to go back. So he's definitely gotten something out. Zuma says, is it fair to blame some of the medical staff? I would think they would be monitoring all these injuries, telling Maurice to rotate more. I don't suspect that that's how it works. And what I mean by that is that we did a little bit of that towards the end of the season last year, and after Four Nations, resting guys here or there. But as soon as you lose, we're already missing Tkachuk, right? So everybody was going to have to step it up just a little bit more. And then Barkov goes down. And now you just can't lose the best player in the world and one of your most important guys without it having an effect on the rest of your lineup. They just haven't had a choice this year to kind of, take a day off here. And you've ended up with Marchand playing way more minutes than he really should have on that top line, which, we've got Rodriguez back up top now, which obviously he's refreshed after the break. It's clear now that he was, beat up. Let's see here. Is it cheaper dollars by a trade for Jason Robertson in the summer? I wouldn't know. If Samoskevich is still on the team, they're going to put him next to Bennett and Tkachuk and give him another chance. I still feel like that's a significant possibility that will give him one more opportunity. I wouldn't, if there's any consideration to trading for a guy for that spot, I would think that they would maybe try to hold out until the possibility of Brady Tkachuk came up. Zuma says, I feel others' team motivation is not making the playoffs is for the Cats not to make. Oh, I get what you're saying. And yeah, and that's another thing, right? That's another part to it. David says, I thought we skated well last night. Sure, against the tired Leafs team, but still, Marshy's like 108 years old and still scored 2. Vincent says, I suspect they might IR Marchand for Barkov in a few weeks if they keep the pace. It's an interesting point. I was thinking about that earlier in terms of like what would make what would if Barkov was able to come back for the last couple of weeks, how we would handle that. Would Marchand's salary be enough? That's the only question. I'm not sure if Marchand's salary, putting him on LTIR, not sure if that would be enough to move Barkov in. I'd have to do that math. It's close. And no, actually, it would have to make sense, right? Because we would only, I think it's only like 4.5 million. So yeah, I think that's it's actually, I wouldn't cry about that if we could pull that off. If you could get Barkov back in, if they were actually going to make the playoffs, if you could get Barkov back in and get him into game shape a little bit for a couple of weeks while also getting Marchand healthy, that's a bonus. Gwen says, I'm extremely disgusted by Steve Dangle and his comments towards Austin Matthews and them visiting the White House. With all due respect, Puck Toronto and Puck Steve Dangle. I did not see what he said. But I have been purposefully avoiding that stuff because I don't want to get myself all worked up. And I know that this channel has people from all different political persuasions, and I stay away from that shit so we don't end up fighting about it in the comments, because this place is supposed to be a respite from that. But I didn't, obviously, I think some of what's been going on has been way, way, way over the top. I think most people kind of feel that way. But the world's gone Cocoa Puffs. Like I talked about yesterday, who was it? One of the I forget who it was. It was a Canadian hockey player who posted a picture of him and his daughter. The NHL posted a picture of him and his daughter at Disney World, and like they all came for him in the comments about the whole Olympic thing and the whole Trump White House thing. And it's like the dude's Canadian and didn't even go to the Olympics. And the NHL had to delete the tweet. It's just crazy. Mike says, when I take Kachuk or Austin Matthews, I'd love to have Brady on the team. I don't see where Austin Matthews would really fit. You can only have so many guys, right? Craig says, maybe even sit Rhino too and Marchand and Arkin coming back early. Yeah, it's you could. Reinhardt's the one that, he looked a little bit better last night. But, we just haven't put ourselves, like Vincent always says, if we missed the playoffs, we did it in October. And what he's saying is that there's a handful of games, there's at least 3, 4, 5 games where instead of dragging that game into overtime and getting a point and then losing in overtime, we blew it in regulation. And those 4 or 5 points, whatever, however many points it is that we blew, that's the difference between us being just a couple games out and having to be on this stupid pace. Sign says, in my opinion, when do I think they're going to get a healthy team back for the Panthers, and when do you think they're going to get back to no injuries? So supposedly everybody but Barkov is going to travel on the road trip. So we could get close. We really could get close within a couple of weeks. Is it going to be too late? Oh, no. They have to keep winning. Hungry says Dangle's full on thinks Canada's at war with the U.S. Oy. Vincent says political persuasion. That's the term we need to have a laugh about how stupid people are. Dumb name. Yeah, because it's all, I try to stay out of it. I don't, when my uncle used to take me to the Orange Bowl, when I was a little kid. Only a couple of you remember this. But in the Orange Bowl, when you went to go take a leak, it wasn't separate urinals for the men. It was a trough. It was just one giant long urinal with nothing else, and guys just walked up and did your business. And when there was a little space, you shoved in between two dudes, and you took a leak. And the Dolphins fans, Jets fans, Dolphin fans, Bills fans, whatever it was, and 100% was nasty, just vitriolic, just some of the worst kinds of comments that you'd ever hear in your life. But it was 100% about sports. It was 100% about sports. I never heard one thing about, I guess back then it would have been Carter and then Reagan. Never heard a damn, not a damn thing. Nothing. It was but people, the same level of vitriol that you see within the politics now, they still talk that way. It was just the Jets fans, Marino sucks. I mean, the things that these guys would say about each other's wives and the players, it was disgusting. But it wasn't politics. You know what I mean? And then after the game, if that was it. And that was the end of the story. You know what I mean? We boycotted the Olympics in the 80s. I guess I do kind of remember that a little bit. Vincent says that's what having a culture must have been like. It was a culture. I'll never forget it. First time I walked, my uncle took me in. He's like, all right, we got to take a leak. It's halftime. And it's just a wall. It's just a wall. And the water was like a waterfall. The water never stopped coming out. And then guys would get stupid and they would wipe, you dry off your hands with the paper towels and they'd throw it into the urinal. And the urinal would clog, and you'd walk in there in the third quarter. David knows. And the water would be overflowing over the urinal. And as you walk out, your shoes would be squishy because it'd be the water and the urine mixing on the floor, and the water would be soaked, and there'd be footprints all over the place. And I see what people complain about now at sports stadiums, and all I can do is giggle. It's all I can do. You know what I mean? Oh, anyway. Cody says, sorry I'm late, Jaws. In your opinion, do we need to rest our boys for next year or go for Gavin McKenna or push for the 3-peat and risk more injuries? As long as we keep winning, I want us to keep winning. You know what I mean? As long as we keep winning, I want us to keep winning. But the very moment that the guys can look around the room and be like, I don't think this is going to happen. The very second that happens, I want them to sit everybody. Just lock them. Just don't even let them in the building. Reinhardt, Bennett, Verhaeghe, Lundell, Luosterainen, Marchand, Forsling, Ekblad, Jones. Who else? Who am I leaving? Just don't even let them in the building. If we get to the point where they're eliminated, especially or closing in on it, I want to see a Schwint, Vilmanis, Samoskevich top line, and that's about it. You know what I mean? I want the roster to be so depleted that Schwint, Vilmanis, and Samoskevich are the top line, and we're looking at it going, yeah, that makes sense considering who's on the ice. Gwen. Gwen, man, it's true, sir. Craig's laughing. Good times. He knows. It's the truth. It's crazy. That when people my age say you had no idea, there's reasons for it. It is what it is. I appreciate nobody coming I appreciate the lack of political fighting. I do. It's stupid. You know what I mean? I can't change it. You can't change it. My opinion of what they did and your opinion, we could fight, but we ain't nothing going to change other than the relationship gets ruined. It don't make no sense. You know what I mean? Let's go fishing instead. David says, completely different world today, but in many ways, it's a good thing. Just so much easier for the whiners to be heard today. David, can you imagine? Can you imagine going to a sporting event now with that picture I just painted with the urinal and somebody like posting it on Twitter and be like, "Oh my God, this is what's going on at Joe Robbie Stadium right now." I mean, wow. Good point. Colin says, I do hope that the Panthers make banners for each of the medalists for the Olympics. Dietrich, they absolutely could use the break. Yeah, absolutely. So he says, Kulikov and Jones are supposed to be traveling on the road trip that's coming up. So what do we got here? We got today against the Sabres, and then we go on the road for 1, 2, 3, 4 straight games. So the first road game is Sunday, and supposedly everybody but Barkov is going to be on that trip with the possibility of playing. That's Maurice's way of speaking. Vincent says Kulikov's likely for the Islanders game, so that would be good. So who do we take Sabrango off the ice for Kulikov, right? But who comes off the ice for Jones? Petrie? Do we go Kulikov Bolinskis now? Do we agree about that? Hungry. Yeah, I know. The heated rivalry, people. That was. I've seen some crazy stuff, man. Zuma says, plus fighting would kill the vibe of the channel if the players can put their differences aside. I want to believe fans too. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. We're playing a game in Finland against the Isles next year. That's very cool. Dumb Name says, I seen those urinal antics at Darlington Raceway a couple of years ago. Yep. It's true stories. Real says, I just hope we at least win a round or tank. None of this barely missing the playoff or wild card crap that the Dolphins do. No disagreement there. I mean, we have our opportunity. And some of these teams, we talked about this yesterday, like we play the Wings twice in a row. And then later on, we play the Penguins. Yeah, we played the Penguins twice in a row. It's really weird. Now, by the time we played the Penguins twice in a row, I mean, they looked okay last night without Crosby. Obviously, they won. But look, there's a lot of teams that haven't proven anything that, the Wings haven't proven it. The Sabres haven't proven it, right? Penguins without Crosby, I'm not so sure. There's some teams that could fall off. We just got to win every game. They're doing 4 Europe games. One is in Sweden, one in Czech, one in Finland, and one in Germany. So what's that, like 6 a.m? Hey, Goat Slayer, how you doing, bud? Yeah, they almost made it close to 3-1, but no complaints. Dumb Name, the water was leaking all the way out the door and down the hall. Oh yeah, man. And the Orange Bowl, you walk there. A lot of times you're walking through the dirt field. You got dirt all over your shoes. You go to use the restroom. I mean, it was disgusting. It was even as a 5, 6, 7-year-old kid who played in the mud. It was just like, this is nasty, Uncle Robert. Hungry says, ironically, the Germany game is the only one not to include a local player. Huh. So they didn't send the Oilers there? Yeah, no McDry, no Draisaitl. Kazuma says that I see that Paramount buying Warner Brothers this year would merge CBS Sports and Turner Sports, potentially centralizing NHL, MLB, and NCAA March Madness rights under one roof. Yeah, that's never good. It's never good when one company has so much like that. There you go, Goat Slayer. There'll probably be 3 p.m. games. All right, that's not so bad. The merger could allow NHL games to appear on CBS, including the Winter Classic or Stanley Cup Final, increasing over-the-air visibility. All right, well, that would be a good thing, as long as as long as nothing gets to the point where it's like, well, we think this sport is more important than this sport, so we're only going to show you one. Right? That's always my concern. Vincent, the world is getting smaller. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the freaking truth, man? Dennis says Canadians and U.S. will always be hockey rivals, and I hope that bickering will always be like that sibling-like rivalry and a special relationship between the countries is truly never severed. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I don't think. I mean, people fight about everything these days. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe I mean, there's always a new normal, right? So I was going to say maybe things eventually go back to normal, but Sweden versus the Sweden is Pens versus Rangers. Czech is Caps versus Bruins. In Germany, it's Ducks versus Sens. And Finland is Panthers versus the Isles. So the Finland thing obviously makes sense for us, right? And then so there's no why didn't they make it the Oilers? I wonder if the teams had the option of not wanting to go. The Sens have a German. All right, well, Vincent would know. Hungry says the problem is that nowadays people take things too personal, can't even chirp without people acting like you're trying to kill them. It's yeah. We used to have a good time on Twitter back in 2016. I like joined Twitter 2013, I think. It was mainly for Dolphin stuff, and then I found Panthers Twitter, and it was fun. We all, we'd fight back and forth. That was the that was the biggest fight that we had on Panthers Twitter back in 2015, 2016, whenever it was whether or not Seth Griffith was worthy of top line minutes. Like, I'm trying to think of when it got so political, because I don't feel like it was right when Trump got elected, because I was still on Twitter like 16, 17, 18. I think it was COVID. If I really think about when Twitter and social media really, really changed where everybody was at each other's throat, I think it was COVID. And if I'm really thinking about it. So it says Seth Griffith was not indeed worth top line minutes. It was a full on war for about a day and a half, Silva. It really was. There was he needs an opportunity crowd. He needs a chance. Greg says people are just getting crazy these days. Even the road rage is getting out of hand. So many people just don't respect anyone anymore. I think everybody is cooked. I think everybody's exhausted. Just from the constant. There was I saw this in a video a couple of weeks ago. It was like an experiment that they did with, I think it was rats, and they built this huge maze, and they like started with a few rats, and they took care of them and all of that. And like the population got good and it got bigger and it got bigger. And eventually they had like so many rats in the maze to where they got so sick of each other and just started killing each other and fighting and stopped reproducing. And on its own, the rat population just eventually gone on its own. And the parallel was to social media, how just the constant engagement, it's just like everybody's constantly engaging with other people. And I think that like what you're talking about with like road rage and everything like that. I mean, I see stuff go on out here, even where I live. I think people are just cooked. I think they're just exhausted from the daily grind of everything, especially with how expensive things are now. It's just gotten stupid. Silva says, with how bare the cupboard was, though, it was worth the try. Yeah, I mean that's the example, right? I mean that's what shows it is like that's how bare the cupboard was that we were like, hey, what about this kid? you know. Craig says, so Thunderdome, 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Pretty much. Vincent says they know exactly what they're doing. Just stay out of it. That's the best survival tactic for the moment. Yep. Kenny says, I'm so happy social media didn't exist when I was a teenager. Oh, so am I. The things that it forced, I mean, we didn't have anything to compare it to, but just like we were never home. We were just never home. Went to school, come home, ate dinner, and we just left. We just left. And it didn't matter if we went to the movies, we went to the mall, go to the beach, go to the woods and have a whole fire and all that. We were just never home. And like our parents didn't care either. They didn't care. Dave says the NHL needs to invest in public relations. It's like they're trying to keep the great game all to themselves. Tough. It is tough to watch. It really is. I mean, in terms of, comparatively, in terms of finding the games, right? I mean, how many times you guys turn on the stream and Colin like, "Where's the game tonight?" Like we pay for 3 different things, and sometimes we still end up having to finagle something else. Dumb Name says we used to purposely fall out of trees when cars passed by to see who would stop. We used to throw the football over the cars. So we'd all be playing football in the street. And when we saw a car coming from that direction or whichever, some of us would get on one side of the road in a swale, and the others would get on the other side of the road. And the contest was who could throw the ball over the car and have it pass exactly over the car as the car was passing under us. And then, the person had to catch the ball. And, every once in a while, somebody wouldn't really make a good throw. Car would get hit. Somebody might stop, give us a bitching at. We'd laugh at them, throw the ball at their car again. Shit like that. Yeah, David, exactly. Oh, yeah, the street lights coming on had the appropriate amount of influence. That's about it. But you knew your mother's call. So, like, if you grew up in a regular neighborhood with just houses with 0 lot lines, you knew about where the sun was, and you knew to start hearing, you knew to start listening for your mom's call. It eventually was going to come out. The Elmer's mom he lived on the corner, and she could barely speak English. But so you'd hear Elmel. We would call him Elmel. His name was Elmer, but we would call him Elmel because that's what it sounded like when his mother was yelling for him. Elmel. And then Brother Gene's dad was down the road that way, about 3 houses. And he always sounded like he was angry. It's just like, Gene, dinner. It was just like that. They didn't have to call me because most of the football was in front of my house. So I got the good end of the stick. JC, yeah, man, hindsight's poor cat, but as a kid, it was funny, right? Never too late for meatloaf life. David says in middle school, our parents would drop us off at the beach and someone would pick us up late. Yeah. My dad would take me to the pier at 5 a.m. and then he would go to work. And then somewhere between 4 and 6, depending on who was doing what, one of my mom or dad would pick me up. There was no cell phone. If I had an emergency, there was a pay phone. The lifeguard was there, but nobody. There wasn't any communicating during the day. Hi, son, how you doing? It was just they picked me up. Do you got any fish for me to clean? I'd be like, yeah, I got an ice chest full of fish for you to clean, and that was that. Kenneth says at a certain point playing road hockey, you couldn't see the ball anymore, so you knew it was yeah. Yep, that's how it got with us with football. You couldn't see the ball anymore. Even with a couple of street lights, we'd get right to that point where the ball would come back. Oh, all right. I think it's time to go in now. Can't see the ball. That's a great point, Kenneth. That's a perfect point. That's how you knew it was time to go inside. You couldn't see the damn ball anymore. Yeah, it's true. We weren't home. I know it. So, all right, guys. I gotta roll. I gotta go do some work here. It's 7 o'clock tonight, right? Let me see. Yeah, 7 o'clock. Yeah. So the member stream will be at 6:15, and then the game's at 7. And I will be doing a noon tomorrow, being that it's Saturday. We don't have any game, but I'll still do a noon. And hey, we started with 25 games. We won the first one. We'll see what happens tonight, right? We are playing with all the house money. We got our 2 cups. So we'll see what happens. If they win again in regulation, all right, everything else set aside, there's still the thinnest of possibilities. But can you imagine if we actually at the end of this did win a third straight? Like, it's not impossible. It's unlikely. But can you imagine if we're actually still sitting here like second week of June saying, can you believe we did this again? It's still possible. So, all right, everybody. Appreciate y'all. And I'll see you again in about 5 hours.